Hello there, everyone. For the few early joiners, it's pretty early in the day. Well, it's not that early, it's 10 o'clock in the morning, but this is a lot earlier than I am normally up in the morning on a Sunday, I can tell you that for sure. But we're here for a help me wake up. I think I need someone else to help me wake up, Saymyname. Hola, hello Daniel. But yeah, we have a winners bracket game today. Saymyname versus Genie. So a little bit higher level players, or seeded players I should say, for today's match. And Saymyname, obviously a furious competitor. I've got the draft here now. And yeah, Saymyname was the winner of our last, I believe it was the Contenders Clash was the name of the last 1v1 tournament we had. So obviously a very strong player, but Genie, no slouch either. Genie being a very strong player in our Legion division of Rise of the Ancients leagues back in the days. And both of these players actually have been playing in the DE tournament that has been happening recently, but I actually saw there that Saymyname got knocked out in his first game there, which is very surprising, by one of the KGB, one of the Brazilian players, and possibly Saymyname a little bit out of practice on the DE version of the game. Hi Naz. Maybe, yeah, like I said, a little bit out of practice on the DE version of the game. I don't know how much he's played on DE. I think he's mostly been playing Return of Rome. And let me just... Sorry, I was just sorting out the players. Saymyname didn't have the right mod installed. Yeah, so we're straight into the map draft. Ocean Ring banned by Saymyname, which is a little bit sad because that's one of my favourite maps. Citadel's banned by Genie, interesting. I wouldn't have thought Citadels would have been a go-to for Saymyname. I feel like in the past he normally picks the more open maps. Yeah, Sahara and Oasis I feel like are go-to maps for Saymyname. Genie, I expect Genie will probably just keep to the more standard land maps. Maybe something like Inland, or... I'm not sure now actually. Desert Ridge, okay, interesting. But yeah, I kind of feel like this is a good chance of being Oasis as well. Saymyname likes to try and go for those scout rushes, and there we go. So yeah, like I said, I'm very surprised that Genie banned Citadels here. And yeah, I'm feeling an Inland, and there we go. I might not be up to full power just yet this morning, but there's something still there. Let me just make sure I'm not missing the draft. Oh yeah, Genie posted the draft in the chat. Forgot to do that yesterday actually. But yeah, like I said, Saymyname is our #1 seeded player. Like I said, he did win the last 1 versus 1 tournament that we held. So I expect him to still be strong. I think he has been a little bit away from the game, probably been focusing more on his Age of Empires 2 stuff recently, just because we haven't had many events on in Return of Rome for a few months now. It's been a little while. Get to the Civ draft, so just to explain this again, I'm just going to make sure I turn down my music actually, because I noticed yesterday it was quite loud on the stream. So if the music's too loud, someone just give me a nod and I'll sort it out again. But for anyone that's not used to this, so it's best of 5. Each of the players gets 1 ban each, and the ban is blind, so the ban can be the same civ. And then both picks, the first picks are picked at the same time, and again those are blind, so they can be the same civ as well. But then we give each player just an extra civ, just so that if it does go for the full 5 games, they still have a couple of civs to pick from on that last map. You just gotta let me check civ patch notes real quick. I made a whole video talking about the patch. Genie evidently watched that. Didn't watch that, sorry. So, yeah, Genie doing his ban. Well, they're not actually at the same time, but like I said, they can ban the same civ, so it's effectively at the same time. So we will have the reveal, and they both ban the lac Viat. Interestingly, I did a video talking about the patch, and I did a tier list of the civilizations, and I was a little bit down on the lac Viat. I still think they're very strong civ in the early game, obviously, with the faster gathering berries and the faster producing military makes it very strong in the early game. But I feel like, oh, interesting. I mean, Persians make some sense with Sahara and Oasis. But yeah, I feel like Persians again are a little bit of a weaker civ at the moment, but they can still be good in those open maps. Yamato, of course, as well there. So all these picks make sense so far. I feel like I prefer Yamato to the Persians. So if I was Genie, I probably would have picked Yamato there. But yeah, so that makes sense for Sahara and Oasis. Carthaginians would stick out as the next probably best pick. Saymyname with his Assyrians ban. I absolutely hate this civ, but Saymyname tends to pick it up quite lightly, and Genie just grabs the Carthaginians. And I think that leaves the Phoenicians probably as the next best civ on the land maps. Genie may consider maybe the Minoans for potential inland, but no, he does go for Phoenicians there. Macedonians picked up by Saymyname, and that's another of what I consider one of the weaker civs. Romans, and this does leave Minoans as a potential pick for inlands. Sometimes the water can be not that big of a deal on inlands, but you can take that variance out. It's always a little bit weird when the drafts don't. Yeah, it picks up Minoans chosen. It's always a little bit weird when the Citadels or Inside Out doesn't get picked, because a lot of the civs go like a long way down the priority order here. Like the Egyptians, Hittites, and Greeks drop down quite a lot. I think I'd probably be tempted by just the Palmyrians just to round out the civ draft here. Hittites is picked up. That's fine too. They're not that strong on the more open maps, but like if some of the stronger civs get taken out in earlier games, if you're left with the Hittites, you've got that slightly larger chance of surviving the earlier game against the somewhat weaker civs. Although saying that, Genie's got quite a lot of strong civs here. But if we chosen can still do some damage in the early tool, but they're not quite as strong as any of these other civs right out of the gate. So the Hittites can survive that Bronze Age, then you can get to that Chariot Archer, which, as we all know, is very, very strong. So we will wait for the players to get their lobby up. Let's see if I can actually get AoE2 Rex to sort of update properly today, because it's been a bit slow yesterday. Although it's going way quicker. Maybe it's just because there's a few less people online now. There's a few less games for it to track. So Genie does have the lobby up, so we should hopefully get able to get into that nice and quickly. I'm just going to close down a few things so we don't have loads of stuff distracting. So like I said, Saymyname with its more open maps, and that's where the Yamato and Persians will be coming out. It'll be interesting to see, because obviously we have Highland as the first map. It'll be interesting to see what civs get played there. Often I do see Chosen get played as a Highland civ, just because they can do that sort of early tool play with the cheaper storage packs. But then that means even if you do lose, you save your more powerful civs for later on. sometimes Assyrians and Macedonians do get played on Highlands as well, but it's also potentially the case that we just see a Shang mirror on that map. But yeah, I'm interested to see, because like I said, Yamato for Saymyname, but what his other map, Civ for those more open maps will be. It'd be interesting to see if Saymyname does try to save the Shang for one of those maps, just because his other Civs aren't that good in the, like, very early game. Let me just keep track of what's going on. Yeah, so it looks like they have the lobby up and running. And yeah, Highland has been chosen. They got the correct data mod on. That's all good to see. We are on the Rise of the Ancients beta mod, which doesn't feel much like a beta mod at this point, because we've had it we've had it out for quite a while now. Let's have a look. See. And yeah, I think they just last minute preparations before launching the game. Like I said, it will be interesting to see what Civs they do choose. Because yeah, I feel like Genie could use the Carthaginians and the Persians for those two more open maps. So he could use the Shang on Highlands. Potentially could also save Persians for Desert Ridge, just because there's all those elephants in the middle of the map that can get let you use the hunting bonus a lot more. Let me just refresh this. Just double check in game as well. Just make sure I'm not single player, it's this one. Okay, for some reason Saymyname has dropped out. We'll come back to that in a second. Oh man, I feel like I need a pick-me-up. Maybe I'll have a quick little snack before we begin. Hiya, Jesse. Looks like they're just having a little bit of issues getting the lobby ready for Saymyname. Hopefully they'll have that sorted in a moment. That's not good. Seem to be having crashes. Would have been good if the players had tested out the patch, the mod, before the tournament started, but here we are. Hopefully they do get it sorted out. Then we can get straight into game 1. Let's have a look. Make sure I can help the players as much as possible to get this going as quickly as possible. Alright, KT. And Wattle, hello as well. Well, we did see some of the new units being played in the tournament game yesterday, Naz. And also KT was taking advantage, at least in game 1, of being able to build farms before building a market. So those changes were being taken advantage of, to some extent at least. Yeah, that's because KT... Yeah, fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's probably more likely that we'll have shorter games today, I think. I think I looked at quite a few of the games, yes, they were padded out a bit, just as Fire was kind of playing on the game when a lot of other people probably would have resigned. I mean, like, if he thinks he still has chances and still wants to play, it's fine to not resign, but I know a lot of other players would have resigned a lot quicker than he did. What didn't you do, KT? Yeah, there were some interesting tech pickups, I should say. I think potentially or not. Oh dear. Someone's playing an AI game. That's curious. Why they're doing that on multiplayer instead of single player. Curious. Not sure what's going wrong here. For some reason, Saymyname can't select the data mod from the lobby. Let me just check. Yeah, I can do it. It's interesting. It says Crazy Ivan versus Genie. So I guess the last lobby I made was probably when I last played Genie in the Rise of the Ancients League. So yeah, sorry about this for this little bit of a delay, everyone. Saymyname is just having a little bit of trouble loading up the mod. Again, would have been nice if he'd had tested this out before today. It is what it is. It is what it is. So yeah, for anyone that's just joined, the map draft was as follows. Like I said, I was a little bit surprised that Genie did ban Citadels, just because Saymyname has a habit of picking those more open maps. It might just be that Genie wasn't really that bothered by the maps, but just didn't want to play Citadels, in which case that's kind of fine. Like I said, Ocean Ring, a little bit of a shame for that being banned, because that's one of my favourite maps. I think it was quite unlikely either of these players were going to pick that map as well, though, to be fair. And yeah, Sahara and Oasis, those very open maps picked by Saymyname, likes to try and go for the scout rushes quite a lot in Return of Rome. And Genie going with Desert Ridge, which feels like we don't see this map as often anymore, but that's going to come out there. And inland, just an AoE1 classic. And oh, okay, they've actually managed to start the game now, so we will just jump on in. And I will mute the music, and we'll get ourselves into game one of this winner bracket round one series between Saymyname and Genie. And it is, I was speculating, oh, I've not started DE, I've just realised, not DE, what's it called, Capture Age. There we go. And yeah, we do have ourselves a Shang mirror for game one. And like I said, I was speculating over they potentially might have chosen the Chosen, for want of better words, or like something like the Assyrians or Macedonians. But it is just going to be the Shang mirror straight out of the gate. So both players using this very strong Civ, and both players also going for those central elephants and a little bit, or maybe not. Where are we going with this villager, Saymyname? Obviously, there's always two elephants right in the centre of the map. Okay, looks like Genie's actually just going to settle for pushing his gazelle straight away. Saymyname potentially is going to find 3 elephants here. I don't think he's going to find this one. He's going to probably be able to snag these 2 here and bring those back. Maybe we'll find his berry patch on the way back, although if he goes like the straight line, he probably will miss that. But yeah, he's going to get himself 3 of those central 4 elephants. There's always the 2 right in the middle, and then 2 in a sort of slightly outer ring. Oh, recalled by Genie. Did he lose a villager? What happened there? Built his granary. It's slightly odd. Normally you'd expect the granary to be like here. So that's a little bit of a shame for Saymyname. Because he had obviously a pretty good start there, grabbing 3 elephant. I'm just trying to see what went wrong for Genie there. Did his gazelle just like scatter to the 4 winds? Is that why? Did he kill a gazelle? What went wrong there for Genie? Maybe he just didn't. He killed a gazelle here. Oh, he killed another gazelle there. Okay, maybe he just didn't like that he'd killed those too far from the TC. Maybe he feels like he needs, against a player the level of Saymyname, maybe he just feels like he needs that very solid start. So that was interesting. So, bit of a false start once again. We will start eventually, properly. The players only get one restart. Okie dokie, and away we go again. Okay, at least that one was fairly straightforward for this game. And in we go. So, hopefully this is the real deal this time. Like I said, both players going on the shank. Ooh, interesting spawn. They're quite close together. Obviously, they don't know that, so we may see oftentimes on this sort of thing, one player will go like across to here, and the other player will go across to here, and they end up missing each other. Interesting that Saymyname is going for this sort of like sweeping search line instead of going straight for the center. Yeah, I feel like he's even further away from the center than he went last time. Maybe just trying to catch one of those altar elephants here on this one. The center of the map's being a little bit skewed. I feel like these elephants are maybe slightly off center. No, they're still, actually, no, they're still fairly central, but the other two are in that area over there. Genie is maybe going to be a fraction too late. Ooh. Okay, we're going to see a little bit of tussle here for sure. Genie getting the villager, trying to bonk Saymyname a couple. He's going to try and block the villager here. The elephants need to lose line of sight to the villager to drop aggro. And it looks like Genie, unfortunately, isn't going to be able to lame those elephants. He could get lucky and just find the other two here. Saymyname found one of his own elephants. That's one of the other ones at back there. So Genie does actually, okay, gets lucky and finds both of those elephants there. So it is going to be a couple of elephants apiece, or is it? Surely Genie's going to grab both of these. Okay, but must have been doing something back here for the time being. So Saymyname not quite getting as good of a start as he did last time. Obviously, managed to grab 3 of those central elephants. It's 2 apiece this time. He does get those back nice and quickly, where for Genie it's going to take a little bit longer for him to get those back to his base. And where his elephant there, a little bit far away on the south side there, so he's going to have to do a little bit of exploration. Does have some quite nice berry patches at the back of his base there though. Oh, well, he's a little bit short on the exploration. I was going to say, if he did find that, it's going to be a nice source of food for him to have in a pretty safe spot. Genie with a fairly wallable map. He can just try and wall to the edge of the map here. It's a little bit more open here, but not unachievably wide. Whereas Saymyname, you can see, is much more open base. He might try and close off in this sort of area, but although that doesn't leave him with much space. I feel like from my memory, Saymyname has a tendency to not push his gazelle, which sometimes puts him in a spot of bother against very strong opponents, but obviously he's pretty strong himself, so sometimes he can get away with that. And let's have a look. Very low idle TC time. Saymyname very fractionally more, which is a little bit surprising for me. As we both see Genie with 7 villagers in queue. You might want to cancel some of those, as he can definitely click tool age, and there we go, he does cancel a whole bunch of those. A little bit short on food. Saymyname has got 20 and managed to go up. I don't know if that's just a consequence of those elephants taking a little bit longer to come in there. So yeah, you can see that idle TC time crept up a little bit for Genie here. And then here we go, classic Saymyname, 2 forward villagers. It tends to do this quite a lot. This just covers off. Sometimes if you only send one and the villager gets caught out, then your forward doesn't work. But like I said, Saymyname unfortunately looks like he's going to the opposite side of the map. Doesn't quite know where his opponent is. And yeah, sending the artifact to have a look around as well. Barracks isn't too far away, but obviously I think he's still expecting Genie to be in this sort of area of the map. Genie has not started building barracks of his own just yet, doesn't quite have the wood. There we go, it's going down now. And Saymyname can be able to... Is he just going to put down the stable straight away? And like I said, unfortunately not quite in the right direction. He is making a clubber. I think he's realising now... Oh, okay, he spotted the barracks there with the artifact. So Genie now knows that Saymyname knows, because he took the artifact of him. And we've got the house wall. Just, I think this clubber just for a little bit of initial exploration. As you can see, there's no pit upgrades or no Axia upgrade coming in. A second barracks from Genie coming down, and the armor coming in. He's not making any more units though, is Genie, interestingly, and it is going to be scout and not scout, sorry, stable and archery range, as the clubber still doesn't have any upgrades on it. And the first scout comes out. Genie is trying to wall up. I don't think he's going to have time to prevent this one scout from coming in. Obviously a single scout not going to be too threatening for the time being. Obviously the combination of two is going to be a little bit difficult to handle. So Genie may lose both of his wall villages here, and that's going to remain open. Should be able to get this sealed up on the south side. Obviously it's open on the east side over here. And Genie is getting the... Oh, yeah, I've just noticed. I was getting confused between the two players, but Genie's blue, obviously. So just getting the battle axe. Now, just going for those close walls. He does have a little bit of health on all those walls there. So, Scout's not going to get in. One villager on the outside, though, is going to get picked off again. It's going to get a third villager being taken down. Counter Axeman is going to get a kill in there. Just sneaking one in from Genie. And, so yeah. Berries have all been collected. I don't know if Genie did fight. Okay, he does actually spot them there, so maybe he'll try and grab those later. But yeah, Bowman already being very pesky. I'm interested to see... Oh, okay, Genie used all of his stone for those walls. I was going to say, I'm surprised Genie hasn't added in a couple of defensive slingers. The reason for that is he's got no stone. His stone is just outside there. Maybe he could try and... And if you deleted the wall and built a pit like right on the edge, so there's a one tile gap, maybe you could start gathering some stone there. It has a little bit of wood spare. House does go down from the initial scouts. Bowman gonna trap Genie in. He's trying to build defensive Bowman on his own, like I said, just try and do some damage back. And it, yeah, there we go, it does grab those berries there. There's actually an elephant there as well, which would be nice to pick up. Didn't find that earlier. Yes, it's going to be a very difficult situation for Genie to be in now. Saymayname's still only on 19 vills. He was on 20, but got one of those killed. It looks like he did deal with that Axer at some point, unless Genie brought it back. Another house does go down. Genie on the edge of his population limit. It's going to need to try and add in some more houses at some point. Another couple of villages do go down. Second range. Genie a little bit pinched for food at the moment, but he is going to be able to get a little bit of food coming in from the berries down there, like I said, saving him for the time being. And Genie could potentially put down some farms now. I don't know how much Genie has paid attention to the new changes. Like I said, he was checking the civ changes for the patch, so I'm not sure. Okay, actually no, he did. Okay, there we go, he is putting down some farms. So, like I said, new change in the community patch. You can now build farms without having to build the market, which makes that transition a little bit easier in this difficult situations. It looks like he deleted the farms here and he's decided to rebuild them all here, because I can't click these farms, so I feel like he's started building them and just deleted them all. And just another house going up to try and reblock the wall. But yeah, axes gonna be a little bit difficult. It's got 5 axes. There's just a couple here. A few of them more in the barracks. Where are the other ones? I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, it's hard to wield the axes once this many bowmen are in play. And yeah, Genie does delete a wall. I don't know if Saymyname actually saw. He should have seen the villagers slip out there. Scouts could potentially find this. Genie trying to quick wall the houses. I think he needed to try to use a bigger building, but he didn't have the woods to do that. So yeah, just going to have to delete those houses. One villager is going to be a sacrifice. Hopefully Genie can get these out. Do we have any more units? I guess, yeah, all of Saymayname's military buildings are on this side. It does have an archery range at home. But yeah, scouts go in the wrong direction to find the villagers. And I think Genie is going to be able to clear up these units that are immediately in his base, but obviously he still has this huge chunk of bowmen running around. And ooh, okay, this isn't good. Saymyname maybe spots out the little farming eco there. Yeah, you can see a farm now. But he's still just pushing in the front side. Scouts wrapping back around here. And don't know if Genie's going to be able to do much. Yeah, axes just going to get taken out. And that leaves the scouts free to just try and run down the bowmen. Potentially, this might be a GG call. There we go, with all of the military being taken out there. And it was a good effort from Genie to try and hold the position, but it was just a little bit slow to the punch. And unfortunately, he was going for the walls, and that initial villager just got picked off by the scout and the clubber there. I've gone way too far back. And now I've gone too far forward. Yeah, just didn't quite get the walls down in time. Got the front of his base sealed off. And like I say, he did have a fairly wallable base, but he just didn't quite get up to the tool age in time and had a little bit of extra idle TC time before going up. And that gave Saymyname the small advantage he needed. Yeah, that artifact finding his opponent. Tipping Saymyname off to just tell which direction was the correct one to go in. And yeah, like I said, unfortunately Genie used all of his stone trying to wall up, so he couldn't deal with the bowmen after the initial wave of scouts. And yeah, just solid game from Saymyname then. 1-0. No needlework, that's a good point. Let me just check. Was there no needlework? There wasn't any needlework. So yeah, Genie could have got the needlework there. I think, again, once that big massive bow is in, needlework's not going to do too much at that point. Needlework's mostly just for defending against like the initial rushes. But obviously it could have helped for that like extra initial couple of villages that went down. But yeah, the big problem there was Genie didn't really have access to his stone, so he couldn't get the slingers going. And let me go back to the draft. So that was Highland, and we had the Shang Mirror, Genie losing out in that case. I think I still do prefer Genie's draft overall. I think the Phoenicians and Carthaginians are much stronger than sort of the other picks. Yamato is a very good pick for Saymyname. Persians, like I said, I feel like Persians are a little bit of a weaker civ at the moment, but they are still very good on those more open maps. That'd be interesting to see where Genie does take us for the next game. And it looks like they're just setting up for game 2, and it is going to be Desert Ridge is the choice here. Like I said, it'd be interesting to see if Genie does pull the Persians for this map, or if he just goes for one of his other choices. Yeah, you've got to imagine inland's going to be for the Minoans of Phoenicians. Trying to think what Saymyname can maybe pick the Romans there, or the Assyrians. Slightly larger map, so sometimes your maps on there are wallable as well. So with it being slightly larger in the sense that your TCs are usually further away from your opponent, sometimes it's easy to wall up and get to that Bronze Age and Desert Ridge. Desert Ridge spawns tend to be like very random. Sometimes they're very easy to wall, sometimes they're more open. So it's always a little bit of a coin flip as to like how that's going to pan out for you. So we are into... I think we're on the wrong version. Are we on the wrong version of Desert Ridge? Maybe we're not. Maybe we're fine. Yeah, no, we are on the wrong version of Desert Ridge. We're not on the Rise of the Ancients version. Oh well. Let me just so I can see the chat again. That said, this doesn't look... Because on the original version of the map, you're normally closer together on the tiny map, but there's still... I feel like this is still the same sort of... the correct sort of map size. But anyway, Desert Ridge is dominated by the big ridge in the middle of the map. There's usually plenty of elephants here, 13 in the middle. And actually I think it is the smaller map, because normally there's more elephants than that. Genie going for... Oh, okay, so Genie does use the Persians, so he's going to try and take advantage of that hunt bonus, and he goes to the ridge straight away. I think he may have seen... Oh no, he didn't, he came through this way. You might see that elephant going through on the way back, though, if he does go that way. Obviously, with the extra hunting bonus for the Persians, there's many elephants as you can get, and it looks like he is just going to have... is he going to go all the way down to the end, or is he just going to take the 3? I say just 3, in context that there's a large number of elephants on this map. Saymyname, for the meanwhile, is exploring more closely to himself. He does find that artifact early on for a little bit of extra exploration, and unfortunately if he goes up to this area of the ridge, he's going to be found wanting, as Genie's already taken up most of those. But yeah, Genie bringing back a nice number of elephants. I think he just... Is that the classic one-tile miss? Yes, it is. That's a little bit unfortunate for Genie. He does have his other elephant at the back there as well. Yeah, because one of the other things is on the Rise of the Ancients version that's on the map, the elephants spawn a little bit closer to the TC if you're an elephant. So that I noticed in the Highland map that some of those elephants seemed a little bit further away than usual. And I think that was... Okay, I was going to say not intentional. That surprises me. Does he... Oh, he doesn't see the gazelle there. I would have expected a storage pit going up around this sort of area. Is he going to spot that elephant there? Feels like Genie is just slightly missing out on the optimal placement. So obviously it's easy for me to say when I can see everything. But yeah, something I didn't point out is Saymyname is on the Assyrians, which, like I said, was a possibility. Usually, you're fairly distant from your opponent. You can see, like, Saymaneme's like right up near the edge of the map here, and indeed, Saymyname's map is like very wallable. A little bit awkward with this hill here, but you can see that. And yeah, in fact, Saymyname already sees all of his wood lines here. So as long as he gets a fairly decent tool time, which he is going to get, both players 21 seconds idle TC, and both players on 20 Vils, so they will get up exactly at the same time. It should be fairly easy for Saymyname to wall this up. Genie does have a forward villager, although I say that, and Saymyname is still going for his forward play. And this is just going to be scouts again, and barracks forward from Genie. And the Persians do have that faster working stable, as well as you should expect them to have way more food at this point, which they do at the moment. Just from the hunt bonus. But the hunt is starting to run out as Genie hasn't found... Oh, it's another one tile miss on the elephant there. It's very unfortunate. Well, archery range is just going to be the immediate follow up for this time, which does make sense as the Assyrians. You get a faster attacking bowman. I think Villager just managed to get away with not being spotted there. Genie doesn't have the... Okay, he's built an archery range at home. I was going to say he doesn't have the wood to build another military building, but he did build that at home. And he's trying to sneak. Surely not. Surely this doesn't work out. But yeah, defensive tower already down for Saymyname, so most of his economy is going to be fairly safe. And don't know how much action, aggression the Gliss Club is going to be able to get in. Axers do already have the armor upgrade in. Needlework actually is in for Genie this time, so one Axer is not going to be a problem. Whereas in earlier versions of the game without needlework, one Axer with armor in can be lights out on the spot. We do see a couple of follow-up units here, but again, just a couple here should be fairly easy for Genie to deal with, especially as he has those bowmen in defense. And let's see what Genie's doing on the front. He snuck in another barracks. He's trying to add in Slinger, getting a few different sorts of units. Genie will spot his Gazelle now. Another archery range going down. But yeah, I think... Okay, he's going to spot the elephant now. I was going to say Genie's a little bit pinched for that food resource again. Yeah, didn't find... oh, it looks like he did find the elephant there in the end. Another battle raging on here. I think Saymyname just has the more units at the moment, and not quite a few villagers either. Is going to get those involved with the fight. And is he managing to do much on the front side? Doesn't seem so. He's trying to collect stone from that area there. I don't know if that's just to give that village something to do, and a lot of villagers going down already. And this is already looking like trouble for Genie. Should be able to take out that Axer if he just picks it off, but he's going to lose a lot of villagers in the process. Already 7 down. And these Assyrian machine gun bowmen. Slinger does come out, but only a single Slinger isn't going to do enough, I think. He's got 3 villagers on stone now. He does spot some berries, but I don't know if he's going to feel safe now. Okay, he's going to go up to the ridge and try and gather some of the more of the elephants there. It's not a bad idea, as long as those villagers don't get spotted. Saymyname is starting to add in villagers again now, so the villager count is going to start sneaking up. Genie down to 17. So actually, even though he's lost 9, Genie was still creating villagers, so he isn't as far behind as maybe you'd expect. Well, GG is just called there. I was going to say a lot of damage has already been done. That's the problem. And yeah, unfortunately, that tower there just pretty much denied all of the early aggression from Genie. And yeah, that second barracks not really getting much done. And yes, a little bit surprising. Saymyname managed to get the jump with the Assyrians there. Obviously expect the Persians to be a little bit stronger in that early game. But Saymyname just able to get that better Russian, and Genie not able to get that more defensive position built up. And like I said, just a very nicely placed watchtower there. All of Saymaname's eco pretty much covered off for that tower. And quick game again. So 2-0 to Saymyname. And we'll go back to the draft once more. So we had Desert Ridge being played, and we had the Persians losing out to the Assyrians, which means Saymyname still has his Yamato left over. Will Genie go to the inland map? I suspect he probably will. Oh, hang on a sec. Yeah, so we will be on the correct version of the maps this time. And we are on inland. And it is the Minoans coming out for Genie. And the Romans for Saymyname, which makes an amount of sense. They'd get that little bit of a wood discount on their buildings, which means you should be able to get that dock up a little bit earlier. Save a little bit of, obviously not quite on the level of the Minoan discounts, but it's something at least. It's probably Saymayname's best pick for the map. And so yeah, let's just have a look at the spawn here. So there is a game paused. There is a central river. Let me just check that we're not doing anything wrong here. And Saymyname has much better water for his own pools than Genie does. Unfortunately for Genie, does have that. Yeah, there are some fish in there. 9 shorefish and a snapper, but you can see that Saymyname has access to these pools, which have quite a bit more food in there. There is the central river, so if one of the players can get control of that, then it means obviously you can take control of the crossings as well. And we'll see if that comes into play, or whether or not Saymyname will just manage to get another early rush off. So Romans, like I said, aren't the strongest of earliest game service, but they're still fairly good with that cheaper building discount. Just means you can have a little bit, maybe like take an extra villager off wood and put them on the food resource and just have that extra resources to spare. And also you can get things like your first storage pit down a little bit quicker, stuff like that. Just get that efficiency for the wood gathering going nicely. Does spot out one of his early elephants. And yeah, you can see here, you can just see that the elephants are much closer to the TC on the Rise of the Ancient spawn. I think on the standard maps there's like a bigger range that the elephants can spawn in, so it's a little bit more random, whereas the Rise of the Ancients means it's in a more consistent ring around your base, which makes it just a little bit easier to find those elephants. And Genie does find both of his this time. And Saymyname did spot that one there. Is that the classic 1 tile? No, that's a 2 tile miss on that one. But yeah, he's going to be able to bring that elephant in. He's been pushing some of his ibex. And what do we see here? 22 seconds idle time for Genie as he sets up some storage pit. That's fairly nice for the ibex there. And he obviously does see he's got a pool there. I think he's probably going to be a little bit disappointed with the size of that pool. Yeah, it just doesn't feel as great when you're committing like that wood to building fishing boats and stuff, and it's only got a limited number of resources. Obviously there's still nearly, yeah, just over 2,000 food in there, so it's still definitely worth doing, but just not on the same. Yeah, you can see it's like, I know I've snuck some on the top side in there, like, yeah, probably about 4,000 if not more in that one pool for Saymyname. Has Saymyname actually spotted? Yeah, he does see the little pools, and he has spotted one of the crossings with the artifact, I guess that was. Yeah, Genie gets control of the artifact now. But there are indeed 2 crossings, so yep, double villagers coming forward for Saymyname, so it is just going to be another forward again for him. 20 pop up, 17 seconds idle TC time. Genie a lot more idle TC time. Looks like he is setting that dock up now. Does click up. Saymyname effectively 50 seconds ahead on that tool time. And like I said, villagers are coming forward. Genie going to put down his barracks now. Barracks going down for Saymyname. Actually, is this artifact going to spot out the barracks? No, I don't think it is. Ooh, perhaps. Not quite. Wow, that's so close. Does find the crossing. Ooh. Oh. Oh. No way. Oh, I was going to say if that missed. That's crazy. Okay, so he does spot. I thought he was going to slip past for that for a second. Watchtower again, I guess, just going to go up on the wood line again for defenses. Archery range coming down and follows. Fishing boats are coming out. Well, Clubman in defense. Saymyname still doesn't quite know. Well, he sees the Gazelle corpses there, so he should know more or less where his opponent is. Axa upgrade coming in, following the infantry armor. And archery range gonna be the follow-up for Genie. I think the armor is already in, yeah, so Clubber. Okay. Yeah, infantry armor not quite in for Genie yet. Genie can maybe plug up, maybe just put a single wall section in, and then just try and sort of wall here, this sort of area. He does have the fishing eco being set. I say that, he's only got one fishing boat. Might want to try and add in a couple more. Big problem for Genie so far this series is he's just sort of like run out of food resources as most of his economy has been forced idle. And those initial bowmen are going to start being very pesky. Slinger transition a lot earlier for Genie this time. And Axa must have needlework in, yeah, there we go. Does get taken care of. Does lose the one villager, but at least he's going to be relatively safe for now. That one wall section does go up, but the bow is going to follow up afterwards. Slinger's probably going to get taken down by the Axa there. And this wall's not going to be very effective against the bowman. Slinger again, taken down by that axeman. And the villagers on the run. It's going to be able to take that down. What do we have? We have a single bowman. Slinger's in queue. And yeah, Genie unfortunately calling the GG straight away. So like I said at the start, I did suspect that the games were going to be a lot faster there. And Genie maybe just a little bit of panic mode there. And like I said, that's kind of is the problem with Minoans on inland, is like sometimes the water part of the map isn't really that relevant. Especially against such an aggressive opponent as Saymyname, just willing to, yeah, like I say, just stop creating villages. That's his patented play. Gets the 20, just gets the tool age and doesn't make any villages at that point, and just starts making military. He had actually added in a dock there, and was starting to gather some fish there. But yeah, very convincing games from Saymyname there. I think there was only just that game one where maybe Saymyname was, I can't remember if I think his uptime was slightly slower from, I think he had a little bit of idle TCT. I could be remembering wrong actually. But otherwise, yeah, just very solid forward plays. Genie unfortunately not able to sort of stop that aggressive play, and like I said, a little bit panic mode, and just not quite able to get those military units out in time to face up to his opponent. So yeah, pretty convincing 3-0 in the end.